I see. It seems as though the incubi has a new subordinate. Welcome to my lair. You seem surprised. Are you confused? It's okay. I understand that some things can seem a bit hazy, especially when you're a newly turned demon. Either way, welcome my new subordinate to what I like to call my lair. It is quite nice, don't you think? You see, it was I who gave the incubi his power ever since he was a young kid. I always saw the potential inside of him, and he is definitely proven to be very interesting. One thing I prize more than intellect or strength or demonic power has always been, can this be interesting to me? And I have to say, the incubi really did provide the entertainment that I was craving. I've been alive for millennia, and even now, sometimes, I like to look back at the events that unfolded. After all, don't the humans typically love an underdog story? This was one of those sorts. Being the little runt of his family. Not even the family, the runt of his people. They always look down on incubi, and I don't know why. Well, maybe I can understand, though I don't get their sense of libido. Either way, I granted him some training, a hint of power, and ever since then, he has been a lovely subordinate, but he is definitely above all the rest of them. And in all of his years of being one of my subordinates, not once has he decided to create a subordinate of his own. It was surprising once I heard that he, of all people, had decided that there was someone of interest to him. I can understand. I can feel the potential that's brimming inside of you. And I have yet to decide whether or not it is just a spark, or if the spark will continue to burn anew. I do find you interesting. I do believe you have much potential. I think you can go a long way. You might even be able to reach the same lengths of what the incubi seemed to have reached himself. Though you are but a fledgling currently. I think with a bit of time and some practice, you will be just as strong, if not on maybe a touch stronger than that little bunny. Though, as much as I respect the bunny's intuition, I cannot just allow a new subordinate to reign under my ranks without testing them first. And for that, I have a simple mission for you. Think of it as a quest of sorts. You have just turned into your newly formed, and I'm sure you're able to sense the power that having demonic blood inside of you will have. You have immense strength, and you now have access to sorcery and spells, some of which you will have to learn over time, others that will come naturally, such as the fact that you are hovering currently. That's magic. You're not using the wings that you have. Of course, that is not me to tell, as I am not your teacher. I am not your trainer. As little experience, if no experience, the bunny has in teaching others, you will be his first pupil if you decide, if you pass the test. Do you think you have what it takes to be worthy? Do you believe that you can be as strong as the rest of them? I haven't exactly introduced myself. You need not know my name, as many don't. and after the millennia, I may have even forgotten my own name at this point. Typically, those people that still fear me or know of my existence have referred to me as Demon Lord or Overlord, as I am the one who controls most of demonkind. I guide them and I keep them out of the fray or into the fray, depending on the century, depending on the millennia, depending on any sort of time period. There are some times where we must remain dormant under the ground, and other times where it is fine to show our faces. Sometimes they treat us demons like gods. Other times it's not quite the same. Sometimes overpopulation begins to happen on the earth and we are the ones who assist the world kind. They typically blame us as plagues or viruses. In actuality, it is just us tending to the masses. Not everything we do has to be harmful to the humankind, of course, though. We can also deal with the animals that they provide, and sometimes we even assist. We don't always harm. We do what is necessary to keep what we must keep alive. After all, humans seem to just absolutely love destroying what they deem is necessary to live. And although we may occasionally make our own fair share of mistakes, we need to still live on this planet to survive. Though not all of us may need air, the cold vacuum of space is still not a wonderful sight. In fact, it may be eternal torment for those that cannot die there, for those of them that can withstand the cold or not need air to breathe. It can be a hellscape for them. Eternities of floating in space. The fear of immortality. It's one that causes many, especially the demon lords before me, to go insane. Which is why I so desperately enjoy whenever entertainment comes my way. I am not to let it pass, especially when someone like you comes down to me. I couldn't possibly let it pass. You are a morsel. Either way, we do not always harm, we do not always save. Sometimes we let the humans take care of their problems, as long as the world is not in danger. We don't really need to come out of our hiding holes. We have everything we need here. And of course, for some of us that seem to need a little bit of assistance from the humankind for sustenance, there's ways to get around that. And typically what we have to do is any demon that goes out of line or threatens us, whether it be through their own narcissistic ways or other such topics, we tend to them as we would tend to a human that was a little bit on the overpopulated side. Either way, what we do is none of your concern as of yet, for until I judge your worth, you may not be able to join our ranks. Your memory will be wiped of this ever happening, and I will send you back to the human world where you will live what could arguably be a happier life than being one in demonkind. You will live a normal, average lifespan. Live your average life, and not have any of this ever happen to you. Perhaps you would think back to it, sometimes memories would come back after being faded away, but you wouldn't think it's true. You'd think yourself crazy. You'd think it would just be such an odd dream. Either way, what I must have you do is I will be taking away your demonic powers. I do not want you to rely on your strength or sorcery alone. I want you to see what kind of wit you have, whether it be the kind of manipulation or the kind where you're able to find your own solutions without the use of others. You can work alone, you can work together, you can find someone to assist you. You have but one simple task. I want you to resurrect a certain someone from the dead. Of course, I could always do this myself, but then I wouldn't be judging you. Plus, don't you think it would be a lot more interesting to see a human, be able to resurrect someone? After all, that's something that's outside of their capabilities. How would you, a mere human, or soon to be mere human, be able to resurrect the dead, to create an undead, a being of unlife, to be able to live again without breathing? It seems practically impossible, but I think you're different than the others. I believe you have what it takes to surpass humankind and prove to me that you are worthy of becoming one within my ranks. I do believe you will be able to put on a performance that only you would be able to provide to me. And I do think you will provide much needed entertainment. After all, I doubt the human race would be kindly to see what kind of demon I would turn into if I were insane. Not often is it that a skeleton like myself comes to arise much power. Typically, we are one of the most weakest, looked down upon races of demonkind, with brittle bones and other such sorts that just hold us back. After going through my own fair share of experiences seeing the world begin and rise anew, I met many people, I learned many things, and once I've proven myself, I ended up craving entertainment after I practically have everything that I could ever desire. So, my story's not important, and maybe after you succeed, you'll hear more of it. As I said, I will be removing your demon blood from inside of you. You will revert back into being a mere human, and I will send you to the graveyard on top of the very ground I want you to resurrect the body underneath of. Of course, to a human, teleportation would be quite draining. I do believe that you would pass out almost instantaneously. However, that's quite alright. Perhaps you will gain a helping hand on the way. After all, you humans are very charismatic, are you not? You managed to woo a bunny that hasn't been wooed in years. And when I say years, I mean years that would be more suited towards demons. So, when I say years, I mean centuries to others. Either way, I do believe it's time for us to say goodbye, for us to part way. And just remember, do not displease me. That is the last thing you wish to do. Do not think that you can't escape your fate if this isn't possible for you. Do not try to run from me. I will find you. And your punishment may be worse than returning to your old life. So go. I expect great things from you. Do not disappoint me. You know, human, you do tend to wake up a little bit later than I thought you would. Oh, it's been such a long time since I've been able to actually get outside and breathe that air that you humans so dearly like. Oh, it's wonderful. I'm actually used to staying indoors, believe it or not. My royal guardsmen, they care deeply for me. And, well, I appreciate it. Of course, I am definitely capable of taking care of myself. But I don't necessarily like being trapped up. Think about it. How am I supposed to get the entertainment that I need if I'm inside my chambers the entire time? The throne room, how am I to explore? Human, you look surprised. Are you surprised to see me? Well, didn't I say you'd get a helping hand? You are charismatic, are you not? I thought for sure we'd end up having quite a nice time. And I will say, I hope you can keep a secret. Oh, how do the humans do it again? When I am not in the chambers, you are not to call me Demon Lord. You can think of it as a disguise of sorts. I just wish to see some amusement. I'll have to get used to the dialect around here. It's not what it used to be. Oh, you should have heard me the last century. I actually managed to sneak out of my chambers. You end up getting a lot of odd looks when you say lust and tis to be. People look at you quite oddly whenever you speak like that. I mean, how was I supposed to know? I had absolutely no idea how I was supposed to be speaking. I was just speaking how I used to speak back in the day. People have really changed since then. Humans have changed a lot, and that's why every century or so, I love to find a worthy person to hide it alongside with. That way I get to watch all of the new nuances of what the humans have made. What have they been up to? Is it worse than before? Is it better? Who knows? Ah, yes. I would like you to accompany me into the city, if you may. Do not worry. Once you escort me safely into the district, I will teleport you back to the cemetery above the grave. I would appreciate it if you could show me around. Try to show me the more interesting places, please. I haven't, what do you call it, sightseeing. I haven't been able to do that since there were horses as the main transportation, but as my guardsmen love bragging about, there seems to be new mechanical beings that they ride inside of. It seems quite odd, considering how they used to be riding on horses, now they're riding inside of a mechanical horse, made of metal and wheels. Reminds me of the Trojans. Either way, I am very curious to see all the different inventions nowadays and just how different. I wonder if they're still making things out of wood and if they look the same way as before. I have so much to see. Come on, human. This will definitely help your judgment if you know exactly where to take me. Hopefully you weren't much of an introvert in your human life, were you? I mean, maybe when I send you back, I'll change you into an extrovert in case you woo another kind of succubus under my wing. I jest, of course. Do people not say jest anymore? What do they say? Just kidding, bro. Quite odd. I don't know if I quite understand. Do you think we are siblings? I understand that comrades at arms often feel like family, but I didn't know people called people siblings nowadays. What is this bruh you speak of? I don't quite understand. Is it like brother? Why are you saying it with the pronouns to you? I don't understand humans. If I had temples to rub, I would, but alas, my skin seems to have gone away a long time ago. Perhaps I was never even born with it. Either way, please, human, lead the way. Show me what life was like back when you were not affected by the demon blood. So what is this strange contraption? A fidget spinner? Is it a sort of magic? I would understand if it was magic. How does it work? Oh, I see. How did the blades keep spinning like that? How are you not being...